America was burning. It just seemed like the world was going nuts. And basically the people at Taylor Camp just wanted to be free to live how they wanted to live. I don't think anything like Taylor Camp will ever be built again.
Prvýkrát som na havajský ostrov Kauai prišiel v roku 2017.
Chcel som sa niekde strátiť a ísť na miesto, kde som nikdy nebol, a tak som sa dostal do českej komunity ľudí, ktorá tam žije celkom v hojnom počte, a potom sa mi stala taká vec, že som išiel do kaviarne Art Cafe Hemingway, tak ja som sa dal do reči s tou majiteľkou, a tá pani bola bývalá majiteľka Leica Gallery v Prahe a veľmi dobrá kamarátka s Johnom Wehrheimom zrovna. Ona ma zamestnala, začal som pre ňu pracovať v kuchyni a raz tam došiel John Wehrheim na snídane práve. Takže som mu pripravil snídane a on mi daroval tú knihu Taylor Camp.
This was the height of the Vietnam War, the Tet Offensive. That year, America lost 17,000 soldiers in Vietnam. It just seemed to people my age then, the young people, people in universities, the hippies, that the world was going insane. It was going insane in Europe. Paris was going crazy. De Gaulle resigned the next year. Berlin, there were riots all over the place. Mexico City was burning. And certainly for you Czech people, the world was going nuts. But we felt the same thing. And that was when we first started having satellite TV. I remember seeing on television the troops beating the students in Prague. We thought, wow, they're just like us.
Pro mě hnutí hippies vlastně bylo, dalo by se říct, takovou nějakou záchranou zdravého rozumu. Už někdy jako koncem 70. let, kdy vlastně člověk se k tomu upínal. Komunisti nějak jako vlastně neprozřetelně sem pouštěli i nějaké filmy, kde vlastně hippies hráli docela důležitou roli. To hnutí hippies je vlastně antiměšťácký koncept a měšťácký koncept vlastně žijeme my dneska jako v té mnohosti toho konzumu, v kterým prostě, bez kterého si už ten dnešní život nějak jako asi ani nedovedeme představit, a přitom to jde, jako to svědectví o tom, že to jde, jako přináší ta výstava.
I had never been to Taylor Camp. I don't even know how much I was aware of it when I moved to Kauai and moved in with Howard Taylor, because they didn't talk about it much. And when I first went around the bend and I saw the beautiful tree houses right along the beach, in one of the most beautiful places in the world, just looking out over the ocean, the river mouth, I was astonished. The first treehouse was actually built by an architect who had graduated from University of California in Berkeley. So there were some talented carpenters and talented designers, and what they built was substantial and beautiful. I had a background in architectural engineering, and I had studied architectural photography. So I was immediately drawn to the architecture because I didn't see any people. You know, I just saw from a distance these buildings against a forest, standing right out on the beach. And the light was perfect. I thought it was so beautiful and so interesting, so unique. I had hitchhiked all over America by then, you know, during my college and high school days. You know, I had lived in alternative communities, I had lived in teepees, but I'd never seen anything like Taylor Camp. All of those photographs were done in the later, more mature period of the camp, after the camp became more of a place for families. There were more children, it was more established, there were more women living there. And it just got better as time went on. But the photographs that I did for this exhibition were all done with 35mm cameras, and so that they would have a consistency. All black and white, all 35mm cameras. And I had a very definite plan and approach and system to photographing a community by that time, because I was working in the Himalayas documenting Tibetan refugee camps and refugee communities, as well as very rural, traditional Tibetan communities along the Nepal-Tibetan border. By this time, it was obvious that Taylor Camp would end. The state was going to condemn the land. They were going to evict everyone and get rid of the tree houses. So that motivated me to do a very thorough documentation of this community. People that I would see at a distance, they had no idea who I was. They were going through a lot of political and legal struggles with the government and the community. So they were kind of paranoid. So I was walking underneath this one of the nicest tree houses, 3 stories, and I hear this woman's voice, and she leans out the window and, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm very interested in your community." She's way up in the trees, and I'm trying to sell my project to her. One of the most beautiful portraits that I did in this whole project was that first photo that I took inside their house. And then the next weekend, I came back and I had large format, archival, museum grade prints. One for each of the girls, and then an extra one. I said, send these to your family back on the mainland so they understand where you're doing, what you're doing, where you're living. So I've always used that technique. I've brought photos back to my subjects, and I've spent time with my subjects, not just photographing, but developing a personal relationship. I think you can see that they feel that they're helping me and I'm helping them. They want the pictures, they want to present themselves in the best way. I had 3 different types of films rated at different ASAs, and they were all overexposed and underdeveloped, so I could get complete shadow detail and highlight detail. Some of them overexposed as much as 2 or 3 stops. For shooting in the middle of the day. And that's why if you look at these pictures, you'll see detail everywhere.
Převážná část těch obyvatel toho kempu původních byli vysokoškoláci, kteří byli z Berkeley, vzdělaní lidi, kteří prostě chtěli žít nějak jinak, nechtěli přijmout ten společenský rámec, do kterého je vlastně ten život normální spal.
The fact is that alternative communities have probably always been with us. There's always been people in the tribe or in the community who are a little different, and I've seen that all over the world. And basically the people at Taylor Camp just wanted to be free to live how they wanted to live. They didn't want to be burdened with tremendous economic requirements. They lived for free.
Rozhodně třeba ty 60. léta byly nějakým jako svobodomyslným konceptům daleko otevřenější než současnost, kdy jako žijeme jako v nějakém jako ekonomickém sevření, který je čím dál tím jako drsnější a vlastně do značné míry je to nějaký druh jako vlastně totality, v tomhle případě ekonomické totality.
Young people, I really feel sorry for them. They don't have the kind of freedom we had. Most of them have brutal, crippling student debt. There's no way they could just put on a backpack and go wandering around the earth or around the country during a period in life when they're probably at their most energetic, creative, curious. No, they all have to get jobs immediately, or they're saddled with debt or saddled with bad credit the rest of their life. That's why I say Taylor Camp could never happen again.
Osobne vyhľadávam momenty, kedy nemusím používať telefón, počítač a sociálne siete. Ale zase uvedomujem si, že to nie je úplne cesta, pretože to môže byť vnímané ako útek od zodpovednosti práve za tú spoločnosť a zrovna teraz potrebujeme tých ľudí zodpovedných čo najviac. Na Kauai je problém opäť s bývaním a to z toho dôvodu, že najbohatší ľudia na Zemi, podobne ako majiteľ sociálnej siete Facebook, si tam kupujú pozemky, ktoré sú tak obrovské, že na nich musíš jazdiť autom, aby si došiel na koniec. Ľudia sa orientujú povedzme k tým tiny houseom, ale to už zase súvisí s iným problémom spoločnosti a to je tá nedostupnosť bývania. Takže z toho som trochu smutný, že akoby ten kapitalizmus to romantizuje, že aké je to nádherné žiť v tom tiny house, ale veľa tých ľudí to robí z toho dôvodu, že si nemôžu dovoliť ani jednolítový byt. Tí pôvodní obyvatelia z Havaja, videl som ich tam mnoho, že žijú v autách a žijú v karavanoch a zase v tých tiny houseoch. Čiže dostávame toho, že to nie je romantické, ale je to nutné. Doteraz tam tie kempy existujú a opäť akoby navštívil som ich, ale tí ľudia žijú v utajení, pretože tie vyhľadávacie prostriedky polície sú akoby na o mnoho vyššej úrovni, už tam lietajú helikoptéry a s tým dokážu jednoducho so skenerom vidieť, kde v lese sú, kde je to teplo a kde sa tí ľudia zdržiavajú, tak oni tam spúšťajú kukláčov a oni to zapalujú a ničia.
Žijeme jako dneska v totálním blahobytu, takhle dobře jsme se neměli nikdy a přesto je spousta lidí jako vykřikuje, jak furt máme málo. A pro mě, když srovnávám nějakým způsobem jako demoralizující účinek jako komunistického hnutí, a to jsem tu zažil jako poměrně bohatě, tak pro mě ten blahobyt je jakoby víc demoralizující, protože jako je to plíživější, vlezlejší a nějakým způsobem jako daleko víc zamaskovaný, jako u těch komunistů to bylo jasný, jako tam to bylo hodně jako buď a nebo.
And the state went in there with a big crew and burned the place to the ground, just so nobody would ever live there again. And now today you go in there, it's just a jungle. You can't, there's no trace of Taylor Camp. It is just completely back to nature and it's a beautiful park. That's how it ended.
Paradise Lost. Podstatný je, že ten ráj vlastně trvá zase jenom nějakou omezenou dobu a pak v tom životě zase to vystřídá nějaký jako jiný stav. S hnutím hippies je hodně spojováno heslo Make Love, Not War. A to je podstatné v tom, že někdy ale se válčí za svobodu a tam prostě láska jde stranou a láska nastává až po tom, co se ta svoboda vyválčí. A to je teď třeba situace, ve které se nacházíme. V tuhle chvíli na Ukrajině se bojuje o svobodu. Bojuje se tam i o naší svobodu.